really got to feel for the poor workers at the Onion because there's as the time passes, as the years go on, they get more and more likely to be put out of a job just due to the absolute absurdity that humans are able to produce. Like the Onion used to be like this big thing of just like thinking about absolute absurd things. Just like their headlines were absolutely crazy that not a single person would believe them. When you get headlines like the one I'm about to show you, it kind of just gets to the point where you think they're soon to be out of a job. So let's read this wonderful headline right here. Five Nights at Epstein's game goes viral at U.S. school campuses. And like I think understand like why I'm saying that the Onion is going out of a job because like this just seems like legitimately one of the top four front page headlines that would go on the Onion. I don't even think they'd actually stoop this low to like make fun of Jeffrey Epstein, like also like all the victims that he had. Basically, the way the story goes, that a 13-year-old daughter told her dad that the kids in her class were playing this new hit online game called Five Nights at Epstein's, which is a web browser game where players pretend to be sexual assault victims trapped on the late financier Jeffrey Epstein's notorious island. Characters have to maneuver past security cameras and palm trees, navigate dimly lit rooms, and ultimately avoid surprise attacks from the convicted sex offender. To win, they must survive 5 nights on the island without letting Jeffrey Epstein find and abuse them. And I guess this is not a single school thing. It's not like one school just being a bunch of weirdos. It is a sweeping phenomenon that I guess has also been shown to be on social media. I have not seen a single post, and you'd think just how terminally online I am, I would see at least some post of it. But I guess I'm also not on middle school TikTok, so I guess I'm avoiding the allegations there by not seeing what all the middle schoolers are talking about. And like this is obviously very concerning, and this article touches on it too, where it's just making making light and like kind of dehumanizing the victims, where you're acting like you're a victim and kind of making a game about being a victim on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and it's just absolutely crazy. I guess like this website right here says they play on their browser without having to install or download an app that drew nearly 200,000 visits in February. Now, I don't think that's actually like 200,000 people who download the game, but like the websites are getting more and more popular. And so like I don't know how accurate this guy's account is. I don't know if hustle bitch is a accurate category, but he's one of the people that I saw my time on where it basically said that the game is set on Epstein Island, has real names tied to the case, and has actual like DOJ photos used in the game. And he posted like a link to like the news video, ABC4 news station, where like they literally just like show a couple of clips from the game if I can find it, because I did watch this. Where would it be? Hold on, give me a second. Let me do some navigate. Yeah, so this is the opening page. This is it looks exactly like Five Nights at Freddy's. Just spectacular stuff we got going on here. It was on a lot of GitHub websites, which I would assume this is like the only possible place that it would be able to be shown, which is on like GitHub or like not any of the mainstream game distributors, not even like itch.io, like with all the indie shit. And like this is I guess a still frame of the gameplay where they literally have just like pictures of Jeffrey Epstein's island, and it has all the cameras. I don't know if the cameras are like geographically accurate. I don't know if the full layout, but like they have legitimate like photos in the game from Jeffrey Epstein's island. It's like it was just absolutely crazy to me to see that this is something that's going around. But I'm not surprised to see that it's going around like middle schools. When you're a young child, like I don't fucking know how old middle schoolers are, 10, 11, 12, you really don't have like a big grasp on reality. I mean, it was kind of like a big thing about those kids. Like they kind of perpetuated like the Diddy meme, where like, oh, you're gonna get diddled or whatever, because it's just like a big news story. It just kind of becomes like a big meme among kids, and they don't really understand the gravity of the situation. So I'm not saying like this is like, oh my god, the youth are just fucking over, and we lost, we died, and the youth is ruined. But I think the big issue at hand is that there was like probably a real adult human being, or like maybe like a 16-year-old or some shit that used like ChatGPT to code the game, made this game, and like I think it's just absolutely crazy that someone thought this. I guess it is like a dark humor, haha, it's funny, it's shock humor that there's such an insane, crazy game to play called Five Nights at Jeffrey Epstein's. Well, it's still just insane to me that this is something that is able to exist, and someone spent, I'd assume, hours of their life, maybe even days, maybe even weeks of their life making. Because the fact that they also use like actual legitimate DOJ photos, which I'm assuming are from like the however much percent of the Jeffrey Epstein files that we got now, or like any other released and unredacted information we got from the files, because those aren't really fully out yet. That's another thing that's absolutely crazy. It's like they didn't even like try to make it so that it's not even like just completely making light of one of the biggest sexual assault scandals in human history, probably the biggest sexual assault scandal in human history. And instead they said, what if it's funny? Because I don't even think they're making money off of this. Like if it's posted on GitHub and all that shit, like they're not even, profiting off of this. They're just being a weirdo for the love of the game for making this game. And it's like obviously also another big issue is that it's like, I would assume this is. I'm not gonna blame the parents entirely, but it's this kind of shortcoming of the parents or like the teachers just not knowing what's on the kids computers. I'm assuming they got like Chromebooks or some shit because like I know obviously I'm someone who was middle school and junior high had like Chromebooks or whatever, so I knew kids had hit a bunch of shit on it. It's just absolutely insane that like this went that long. It was there long enough to become a sweeping phenomenon on both social media and in the schools for them to like actually understand it. And so I wonder like if just one kid like and actually no, I was gonna say I wonder if it was just one kid that fucked up and showed it to the teacher, but it literally only took like a kid who was naive enough to just say, "Oh yeah, we're actually playing Five Nights at Freddy's," or "I'm not Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Epstein's," to their parent for this like to actually become a big thing. So I do wonder how many kids have been playing Five Nights at Epstein's. It is kind of concerning if it's like a lot, especially because it is such a nationwide phenomenon. It's not just entirely located in one middle school. Hopefully, all the kids' parents who've been playing this game get a stern talking to because they need to know that they probably should not be playing Five Nights at Jeffrey Epstein's, just from a moral and a standpoint, I guess. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. That's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.